Run into an open goal. Wide goes Whittlesey, looking for Reid. He couldn't control the ball. Curtis, where else? At the bottom of the pack. Tumbles it out to Harrison. Short, looking for Anderson. McCarthy from behind, and his marking today has been a feature. The handball off to Smith, well shepherded by Whittlesey. Wider in turn to Moskeny on the boundary. Can he keep it in? He can't. Moskeny now playing at centre wing after David Boyd. In fact, after David Walk left the field after a heavy knock. Playing on Greg Boyd. Into the front, Darvanese with the tap. Greg Boyd heads towards the line and achieves what he set out to, pushing the ball across the line.
7.5 minutes gone in this third quarter. 67 plays 40, a 27-point lead to the Magpies. Free kick will go the way of Leo Darvanese.
Yes, that is a difficult one. Now the ball's taken there by Underwood. Fine mark.
Underwood always looks to play on quickly. He's got himself out of trouble. Spears one out to the forward pocket. Oh, there was a push there, unsighted by Schramm. Delena there. In fact, it's Benson. Quite happy to see that ball go over the boundary line.
Good solid player, Benson. He opened the season at full forward when Wilmot was injured. Played very well in that position. Today playing half forward, and he certainly tried his best. Anderson with the quick kick away. Seems to do that a lot lately. One-step kick. Reynolds dropped an easy one. Phelps the handball back. Turned to Abernathy, who opened the game in sensational style. Now Ginniver at half forward. Darren Smith on the lead. He's got him too, I think he has. Well placed, Ginniver. Smith too far out to score. Here's a nice kick. Now he elects to go long to the point of the square. Ginniver's dropped back underneath that one. But in the goal square, Michael O'Brien, the man of the moment. 2 goals in the second term, one only moments ago. And now an opportunity of belting through goal number 4. And I think you could almost count this before he kicks it. Chips in, easy. Oh, he's at the post. Well, sure as you say something, they let you down. He's at the post.
Well, that's a let-off for the Blues. As Smith brings the ball back into play and finds McCarthy. McCarthy's been a good player. He can hold his head up high. Been rock solid in defence. Kicks long looking for Whittlesey. Whittlesey thumps the ball forward, keeps his feet. Then taps the ball forward again. He's gained this height about 40 metres. Painter in there, used his body well. Eventually we'll have a bounce on the right forward flank for the Sturt side. They trail by 4-4 at 9 minutes this third quarter.
High coming off the ground. Eddie Fry on. Fry will go to the back pocket to pick up O'Brien, who has looked damaging. Curtis to Fiarchi. Fiarchi only on since the second quarter, has been a star. Ginniver couldn't control that ball.
Well, in fact, what happened, or what has happened, is Heinrich has gone on to O'Brien and Fry has been moved on to Harrison.
Thanks for that, Kim. Certainly some good moves. So Eddie Fry, they're hoping to get some penetration off a wing. That's where Fry has gone. McCarthy and Ruck opposed to Phelps. Darvanese couldn't control it. Smith at the bottom of the pack. Caught one high. Free kick. Smith has Underwood short. That's the way he goes. Now in turn, Fry is loose on wing. If he can get clear, Underwood will need to get moving. O'Brien did well to come down from the back pocket, but that's left his man Heinrich free. Now Heinrich goes to the run. So O'Brien had plenty of running to do on that occasion. It wasn't his fault. Fry through half forward. Well-placed kick. Delena, play on. No mark. Phillips. Been strong in defence today, Phillips. Bald. Abernathy. Put the ground well by Underwood. Aber was off. 15-metre penalty. Aber goes long to centre half forward. Darren Williams pushing the back. Oh, a bit unlucky, Reid. Darren Smith was underneath that one. He had to hold his ground, and Reid ran right over the top of him. 2 goals to date, Darren Smith. From 45 metres out. The angle is very slight. It's a good kick, the big fellow. He should just slam him deep into the goals. That one's not going to make the distance, or is it? Just offline, just inside the line, and a mark's been taken there for Port Adelaide. Phelps has tried to claim it. Umpire Schramm said that everyone had a little bit of that. He'll need to call it up. Klitsky thumps the ball across the line out of play. The throw-in will take place only a metre around from the right point post in Port Adelaide attacking zone.
68 plays 40, a 28-point lead to the Magpies. A few quick goals to Sturt could make this game interesting. Kixkey wins the tap down towards Smith. Smith tries to feed off quickly out to Russell. Whittlesey over the top of it. Now Russell in with a second chance. Gets a long handball out towards Fry. Fry with a left foot clearing kick. Gets his side out of trouble temporarily as Phillips picks that ball up. To Lum, back to Ball. Oh, he's well tackled. Play on the goal. Picked up by Painter. Painter spears out a pass. Oh, it's missed. Oh, the charge. Wilmot lost his footing. He could have gone into an open goal. Now he's being pressured there by Taylor. He flicks the ball back out towards Reynolds. Tried to handle. Intercepted there by Hines. Galena over the top to Wilmot. Great desperate work by the Port Adelaide defence. And do you think that Mark Tyler doesn't breathe a sigh of relief? Desperately close.
Oh, was it what? They had 3 opportunities to have a shot at goal, the Double Blues. Port Adelaide defence was desperate. Tyler looking for Anderson. He couldn't control the ball. Moschini over the top of it, held by Fiarchi. Now a ball up surely. Yes, that's the way umpire Michael Abbott has seen it. Abbott's done a good job today. Shells the dummy well, comes out with the ball, throws it long to Klomp down from centre-half forward. The feed is to Underwood. Short he goes. Looking for Russell. Russell dispatched the ball well with the body. Now comes inboard to the run of Painter under pressure. Painter does it beautifully. Holds the ball in the area until he can get clear. Concedes ground. Fry. Oh, Fry's been caught. He almost dropped the ball. The handball now back to Painter. Painter elects to go deep to the point of the square. Wilmot, strong body. Hutton from behind, couldn't take the mark. Now Benson's legged. Free kicks to the umpire, is it? We'll have to wait for the decision. I think the all clear's been given. The Double Blues have the goal.
And that's another goal to Ian Wilmot. He soaked that one off the ground to post his 3rd goal. So the Blues just edge a little bit closer. Port Adelaide 10 goals, 9-69. The Double Blues 8-6. And they're just edging their way back into this game.
Great as David Mackay thought it may have been. But a good third turn, nonetheless, by Sturt to get within 8 points at that last break. Then the last quarter, all Port Adelaide, though, and they won by 23 points. For Port, O'Brien and Darren Smith kicked 4 goals each. And for Sturt, Wilmot, after a big game last week, kicked 5 this week. With us once again, Darryl Hicks. And Darryl, Sturt, so impressive last week, but they couldn't quite finish off today's game.
That's true, but they are young. They went down by 11 goals to Port in round 1, just 4 today. I think that's an indication of their improvement. They won't be the easy beats of the competition. They'll help decide the final 5, but I don't think we can expect them to be there yet.
Much has been expected of Port Adelaide this year, but suddenly everyone's talking about their inexperience.
Yes, but when Bruce Abernathy plays 2 games like he has in a row, and Anderson's back with that from the ankle injury, quite fit, Phillips and Ginniver played well with Curtis, they've got name players now coming into form.
The basis of a good side, that the experienced players to guide the youngsters, and they've been lacking those players recently.
With the injured players like Johnston to come back, they'll be a strong side, and who knows, on paper, they look as good as any in the league.
Well, the second match we're looking at is that at Football Park between
23 points, Port Adelaide 16-13, 109, Sturt 13-8, 86. Our guests from that game, Robert Plump and Timmy Ginniver. Robert, you had your chances today, but couldn't quite finish the game off.
Yes, we certainly did have our chances. We, unfortunately, as a different game from last week, we were handling the ball a lot more poorly. We were making the fumbles, which were, you know, Port were putting pressure on, but whereas last week we were giving the ball quickly and we had the players to give it to. At crucial moments, we didn't have those players in position, and that's where I think we missed our chances.
Timmy, a very important win for Port Adelaide, 2 valuable points.
Yes, I think so. That's what, during the week we had a bit of a talk with Russell, a couple of the senior players and that, and really we had to get off our butts and just get in the gear and start winning games.
Timmy, I would have thought that would have been a priority this week to close ranks, get together, have a talk about it, because last week's performance was absolutely pathetic and you had to do something.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and we accepted that it was pathetic, and you know, it was gone. We had, you know, we couldn't change that effort only by sort of performing this week and then the next week, and that's what we're sort of building on each week now. So with a bit of luck, we'll keep it going.
Inconsistency from Sturt, Robert. Last week a very good victory, and up till three-quarter time, you'd kicked 9 goals.
Sure. Yeah, we came back towards the end of the third quarter, and we're looking like we're going to go on with it. We started to play better as a team and ran the ball better. But in the last quarter again, I think a couple of breaks early went Port's way, and they went down and scored the first goal. And after that, we just seemed a little bit lost as a unit. We just didn't work together as a unit, and we've got to develop that as an automatic process in the game. And instead of that bit of uncertainty and bit of hesitancy of how we go about it, it's got to become an automatic thing, and it's just not quite there at the moment. It's very close, but just not quite there.
Tim, as a rover, you see most of what's happening on the day. And where was the difference today as from last week?
I think just our attack at the ball. We were totally out-attacked at the ball last week by Woodville. They just drove at the ball every time. We'd had blokes that just didn't want to go in. It's as simple as that. And I think today we had 20 blokes. When it was their turn, they went in and got the ball. And I think that's where we won it, just getting the ball and getting on quickly.
Would you agree with that, Robert?
Very much so. I thought Port were just a bit more positive in the way they went at the ball, whereas we hesitated a little bit, which let them in. And
Port, that didn't happen last week.
No.
It's amazing, Robert. How can you explain? Because last week you weren't hesitant. You were, you'd eat the footy.
Well, that's last week was the first time for quite a while that we'd actually attack the game with a real vigour. To forget about the finer points of the game, just get in there, get hard, and get the ball moving on. And all of a sudden, the ball was moving our way. The players were there to give it to. When there was a fumble, there was a backup. And as soon as the hesitancy comes in, all of a sudden you're not taking the ball cleanly. The players aren't there. They're a yard behind, and it just generates from there.
And Kitski and Reynolds, of course, last week played very well. How did they play today?
We didn't get the same drive around the ground, and I thought Lunny, beat them on the day in the ruck department, which made it pretty difficult. But the main thing was we didn't really get as much value around the ground from our big men, and we're not over-endowed with the big fellas.
And where do you see your strong points today, Timmy?
I think with Craig Lum winning the taps, gave us first look at the ball, therefore gave the fellas a lot more confidence to get in and get it first. And we ran the ball a little bit more quickly, but it was a good game, and Sturt came back well in the third quarter.
Robbie and Tim, thanks for joining us, and good luck to both of you for the remainder of the year. That's the game, of course, in the Alberton Oval. Looking at the best players, the West End all-star better players there. Abernethy, Anderson, Curtis and O'Brien for Port Adelaide. And for Sturt, Darryl Smith, Whittlesey, Reynolds and McCarthy, the main goal kickers. For the Magpies, O'Brien and Darren Smith, each booted 4. And for Sturt, their full forward, Wilmot, should I say, booted 5. Back with more footy right after the break.
In the centre of the ground, Fiacci. No lead forthcoming. He elects to go back and take a long kick. Drops it deep into half forward. Underneath that one is Harrison. He couldn't take the mark, but he's won himself the free kick. No, says the umpire, the mark. He didn't have much of it.
Dropped it in my book.
Yes. Harrison from half forward. Drives deep. Darren Smith is there, high. He took the fly. Jennifer rode the crumbs beautifully. Great Rovers goal, Tim Jennifer. 3 goals to him. He got one earlier in the final term. He certainly helped to set up what should now be a Port Adelaide victory.
Sturt was certainly competitive, but went down by 23 points. O'Brien back in that forward pocket got 4. Smith 4. Ginniver and Abernethy 3 each. Wilmot booted 5 for Sturt, going on from his good form last week. Benson, Delina and Kitschke also got 2 each. After the game, David Mackay spoke with Port coach Russell Ebert.
This week you said the players looked soft. Were you pleased with the commitment today?
I've been very pleased with the commitment during the week. They realised that it wasn't a Port Adelaide effort, and we let a lot of people down and ourselves down, and they certainly were out to rectify that today, and they did.
A few positional moves for you today worked. Michael O'Brien, who played on a wing last week, went back to the forward pocket today and kicked 4 goals and certainly played very, very well. And Abernethy from half-back flank ruck rove today and was probably your best.
Yes, both those lads have got terrific pace and terrific ball skills, and I think today they were in the positions where they complement the side the best, and I thought we got value from both players.
And your forward line functioned very, very well. You had 4 players who kicked greater than 3 goals. Abernethy and Ginniver had 3, and I think Darren Smith got 4, and so too did Michael O'Brien, so it was a good effort up forward.
Well, it is too, because we can't afford just to have, no side can afford to just have one target up there in case he's blanketed. So I've worked on getting 3 or 4 or 5 targets that can produce goals, and that happened today, and it was good to see that our Rovers got a couple of goals. So, yeah, a pretty pleasing effort.
Yeah, there were a few problems in Port Adelaide's side last week, obviously against Woodville. Darren Smith in the forward pocket. That didn't work. He was there all day. O'Brien on the wing didn't work. Abernethy and Curtis changing off the back flank didn't work, and when Rowan Smith went to centre, that didn't work either. So Port had a great deal to think about during the week, and today they came out and beat a very competitive Sturt side. After the game, it was David Mackay who had this to say.
Port Adelaide's big guns were firing today against the Double Blues down at Alberton Oval. Abernethy was in outstanding form. Greg Phillips at centre half back was a bottler. They had a couple of other good players too in Greg Anderson and Stephen Curtis, and big Darren Smith at full forward returned to some great form, and that spells trouble for opposition teams.
Yeah, Darren Smith's a good player. Do you think the final, the ladder is starting to shape up as perhaps 3 sides at the bottom with just running out of legs, South, Sturt, Central?
I hate to say it, Pete, but it looks that way. And yet a week ago we were saying Sturt had returned as a not a force, but a side to be reckoned with. And I suppose they still are. I mean, Port at Alberton, that's a big contract. You know, you just don't go there and win very often. All of a sudden everyone was saying Port had run out of players, which was an astounding comment to make, considering what they've got left. I know that Russell Johnson's out, you know, and Martin Leslie, but I mean, you've got to lose some players. You can't have the full people there, the full number of people there every week. And I just think Port have got too many good players to be wallowing in self-pity as they were last week. And they proved it today, and they had to come back. No, I don't think Sturt are out of it yet. Maybe South have just got too far back to make a revival and be part of the 5, but on a given day, Pete, any side in this competition can beat any other team. It seems Central are in trouble, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Just seems to be nowhere to go after a great start to the season. Central District are where they're 8th on the ladder at the moment. Port Adelaide are 3rd. I think that would surprise a lot of people who perhaps look at Port Adelaide and think they're not going that well, but they're 3rd. So that's the position on the ladder, and stay with us because right after the break we'll go to Football Park for highlights of the game between Glenelg and Norwood.